spirit speaking, truth seeking, heart reaching, knowledge leaking, seeds sowing, harvest reaping, man of meager means. I have yet to leave, I'm still breathing. To quit, I have no reason. I mean, I'm asleep, but I be trying to live my dreams. I cannot even act if it's all easy. Either you gon' do it or you don't. Really, it ain't no in between. Baby, you can ask the sun, it's an everyday thing. Consistency in your routine is how you bring reality. Working like a slave, that's how I made this masterpiece. Living like a god, I lay at night, I rest in peace. They remember me, but I am not Haram or beef.
Peace, 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 peace. Peace and greetings. Happy Holy Friday. Back again with another BBT book club reading. I'm your host, Noble Moso L. Just trying to get myself situated. Again, welcome back to the Burning Bush Tabernacle BBT Book Club. I'm your host, Noble Moso L. We are the Burning Bush Tabernacle, a school of learning. And as we know, this is a month of history and heritage and study. And I just wanted to highlight, the Moorish paradigm books that we study and break down. It has a lot of different volumes. We've gone over a lot of them in the past. I just wanted to touch on it, because understanding of history, chronology, colonization, tribalism, so many different aspects of history that we all should study more of. Again, as you saw in the beginning, all our sponsors. We are sponsored by Herbs of Mayat. Herbs of Mayat tea. Visit herbsofmayat.com if you're looking for any dry herbs, any books. Again, we have bindedbooks.com if you're looking for any physical copy books. We have mypdfbooks.com for all PDF, ebooks, rare books, out of print. Like I said, we have our herbal teas. Mullein, soursop leaf, cinnamon, great respiratory aid, soothes coughs, good for the flu, good for COVID, good for mucus buildup, just this cold weather. Ride with the A. Yeah, I'm not sure why people in the chat talking crazy, but you jumped on this page. Remember that?
Look here, before they give they naysay on the things they say you can't think, and on the ways they say you can't play this economic game unless it's about the rules that they made. Haha, here's the funny thing. What you have yet to understand. They're terrified, honestly. They know your royalty and you'll be running this world someday.
But yeah, one of the books that we're gonna go over is
I just need
a
you to
Moorish
believe me.
paradigm book.
You ain't no different from your classmates, but I just know what you can do when you dedicated. I can tell the way your head shake. That
Let's pull
vision
it
of
out.
your dreams, and you better chase it. What if I said life is just one big field trip, and you can travel how you need to choose your destination? I just want you to think about it, wrap your mind around it. Do you hear what I'm saying? I just want you to think about it, wrap your mind around it. Do you hear what I'm saying? Last but not least, my little love, here's these words for you. Nothing on earth can compare to the worth for you. I'm up all night and all day doing work for you. I never knew love to be pure and so absolute. You are the future because of great men. No need to rush it right now. It's a lot to take in. Trying to make it in the mix where the tricks of the
So
kids
this is
used
the
to be
master issue,
choosing their own corner
and
flicks.
again, this is a
Some
book
folks
from our
push it one and only one.
catalog and
Some
library that you can get from
folks
us.
say they don't exist. They just
If
want
you
your
put your email in
kiss.
the chat,
On a mission, only tip I could give you. Watch what niggas you be kissing.
you can
Everybody
definitely
don't love it, baby. Everybody
start to
give it what you
correspond
niggas
and
be doing. Ain't everybody
get
business.
you some of this
Cause when you
literature
in
that
it,
you need for your
everybody
studies.
getting you the last of what's left. Don't let
Here at our
nobody
school,
trip
we've
you
been
up. So
studying
think
these
about it.
topics: more science,
Mind around it.
spirituality,
Do you hear
monotheism,
what
all the
I'm
different
saying?
spiritual
I
systems,
just want you to think about it.
so you can have a
Wrap your mind around it.
well-rounded understanding
Do you
of the silver
hear
lining of all
what
these
I'm saying?
ancient wisdoms and truths and rituals and traditions. You know, so like I said, this is, if you don't know who this is on this cover, this is Prophet Noble Drew Ali. This book is called The Moorish Paradigm, the Journal of Moorish Paradigm.
Look here, before they give they naysay on the things they say you can't think, and on the ways they say you can't play this economic game unless it's about the rules that they made. Haha, here's the funny thing.
I'll just read a
What you
little
have
bit
yet
of
to
it.
understand. They're terrified, honestly. They know your royalty and you'll be running this world someday. You got a lot on your lunch plate. I just need you
It
to
says,
believe
"We
me.
descendants of the
You ain't no
lords of
different from your
planet Earth
classmates, but I just know
had
what you can do
descended
when
into
you
gross
dedicated.
materialism
I
and
can tell the
carnal
way your head
gratification.
shake. That vision of
Because
your
of
dreams,
this,
and you better chase it.
we
What if
began
I
to
said
lose the
life is just
glow
one big
of our
field trip,
once noble
and you can
nature,
travel, my little nigga, choose your
and our lower
destination? I
self
want you to think
got to the
about it,
upper hand.
wrap your mind
This
around it.
ultimately led to our decline and
Do you
defeat at the
hear
hands
what
of the Roman
I'm
Catholic Church
saying?
in
I just want you to
1492.
think about it,
And for those who
wrap
don't
your
know,
mind around it.
1492 was when the last stronghold of
Hear what
Moors
I'm saying?
gave the keys up to
Last but
Spain,
not least,
to
my little
Moorish
love,
Spain,
here's these
Al
words for you.
Andalusia.
Nothing on earth could compare to the worth for you. I'm up
So,
all night and
although
all day
we have
doing
had
work
some
for you.
shining
I never knew
moments
love to
since
be pure and so
1492,
absolute. You are
we
the
have
future
generally
because of great
fallen
men.
as a
No need to rush
race,
it right now. It's a lot
not so
to take
much
in.
because
Trying to
of
make it
our
in the
Father,
mix where the
God,
tricks of
Allah,
the
has
kids used
punished
to be.
us,
Broken homes in their
but
own
because we
corner flicks.
reaped
Doing the
what
work
our
of the
own
city. Push
hands
it one and
had
only
sown.
wish. I know you got dreams that they
Thus,
say you
certain
don't exist.
prophecies
They just
in
want
the
you to see what they
possession
see
of
in
the
you.
Moors
Only tip I could
began to
give you.
take
Watch what
on
niggas
greater
you be kissing.
significance
Everybody
and
don't love it,
importance.
baby. Everybody different.
Below is
Just
an
want you to
example
ain't
of one of the
everybody business.
prophecies that
Cause when
existed
you in
among
it,
the Moors
everybody getting
around
you
the
the last
time
of what's left. Don't
when we were
let
forced to
nobody
become
trip you up. So
Christians,
think about it.
known as
Wrap your
Moriscos
mind around it.
or Little Moors.
Do you
It was said that eventually our situation would get so bad that even the angels would become vexed. So this is just setting the stage for the downfall, for the fall of Moorish Spain, one of the last African strongholds. And Al Andalusia had all the religions living there in harmony: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. They understood the common truths, the synchronicity of their brotherhood. And that's what we do here, in our brotherhood. That's why we study these ancient books. We cross-reference a lot of information. And we welcome brothers to share books, get some of these books from us so we can all dialogue and continue to grow in our understanding. Because our ancestors, though enslaved for 400 plus years, any historian knows that our people were freemen and nobility longer than they were enslaved. So we need to study it all in totality. Understand coat of arms, understand the origins of your last name, your surname. Because again, as I always say, slaves rarely had last names. The myth of a slave getting their master's last name, not saying it never happened, but some slaves had one name: Buck, John. There was the function of the being. And in our studies, we know all last names have coat of arms, linked back to ancient families. And so I really encourage people to, study your last name, study your mother's last name, your father's last name, and just have some fun with it. See how far you can go back. Type in coat of arms and your family last name. It's up to you to preserve the family history. It's up to us. It's not up to museums and the Smithsonian and all these other people that we put in charge of repairing ourselves. First, we have to do the reparations through our minds, our hearts, our economic unity. To continue this book, it's definitely a must-have through the Journal of Moorish Paradigms. Let me turn this. Continue reading the rest of this. So it said it was a third prophecy is attributed to Muhammad himself and may have formed the basis of other prophecies. It is related that Muhammad was asked about the end of the world and what would happen thereafter to his community. It said he replied that the world will come to an end when the most perverse and worst people appear at a time when a part of his community will still be in an island situated in the extreme west, which is called Andalusia. The people of his community will be the last of its inhabitants. All calamities will befall them because of their neglect of the religious laws and their worldliness, neglecting prayers and indulging in luxury. The minors among them do not respect the elderly, nor do the elderly have compassion for the minors. Injustices and false oaths abound among them. Merchants Merchants purchase and sell with usury and deceit and covet properties. These and other evil things will become manifest, and God will subject them to people worse than they. They will be tormented. Cruel governors will rule over them. Their property will be confiscated for no reason. They will be captive and subject to killing and conversion, and will worship images and idols. They will be obligated to eat bacon and will endure other oppressions to the point of hopelessness and despair. God will punish their sins, but he will also have pity on them and will forgive them when those evils are eradicated and when they return to the practice of the religious laws. The cruelty imposed will be so intense that the angels will become vexed and will appear before Almighty, calling his attention to their plight. It is then that God, the Avenger, will send someone to rescue them from their miserable condition. This will take place when the new year falls. God will then send a sign consisting of a cloud of birds, two which will represent the angels Gabriel and Michael. The first cloud of birds will be followed by other birds of the earth to announce the coming of the King of East and West. Who will take Andalusia? The conflict between Islam and Christianity will end with a return to the law of the Moors. There will be much cloud in that year, scarcity of water, trees bearing extra fruits, and other signs. So this statement here is just, breaking down a time period where our people had been conquered. We were captives, we were enslaved, we were colonized, we were forced to convert to a foreign culture, to a foreign traditions and ideologies. And these are the historical moments that our culture was dismantled, disenfranchised, and 1492, and understanding the Black Moorish community, during these time periods in Europe. We're not really taught about the Black communities that were in Europe during 1492, 1600s, 1500s. It's a lot of time, it's a lot of ground to be covered and studied. So many scientists, so many doctors, so many agriculturalists came out of this time period, this this region of Al Andalusia, Spain, Morocco, North Africa, the Mediterranean. The quote unquote black and Moorish experience was all throughout those areas. And this book, this what I just read was was from Islam and the West, the Moriscos by Anwar G. Chejin. So just like the word Negro, mulatto, Morisco, all these are derogatory words that were created to displace us. If there's no culture called Negro, there's no place called colored, the colored lands. These we had tribes and families just like every other nation. So these are things we got to study and get a firm understanding on. Because the more you do the research, you see the original slave was the Slavic. But to continue, go down a little, show you a little bit more of this book. I want to encourage you to get it from us. It says right here, since 1492, we have suffered defeat, chattel slavery, lynchings, killings, poverty, ignorance, and everything degrading and destructive to a people, even to the point of hopelessness and despair. Thus, the next logical question would be, when will the great God Allah send this someone to rescue us from our miserable conditions? When will the King of East and West come and bring about a return to the law of the Moors? A prophet from amongst us. That question was asked in March 1917 in an editorial in the Champion magazine, a so-called Negro publication. The editorial said, "The Negro is crying for a Mohammedan to come forth and give him the Quran of economic and intellectual welfare. Where is he?" This was the prayer of our people, and Allah responded by sending us someone, a king of the East and West, a Mohammedan prophet who would bring us a Quran of economic and intellectual welfare. That one sent to us was none other than the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who you see here on the right and was on the cover. Now, Prophet Noble Drew Ali was born Timothy Drew in North Carolina, January 8th, 1886. As can be seen, he was a prophet from amongst us, homegrown, and not a foreigner speaking a foreign language. Not much is known about his early life prior to becoming the prophet of Allah. All we have is what has been handed down to us by the Moorish elders. The elders said the prophet founded the first temple in Newark, New Jersey in 1913. It was during this time, between 1913 and 1916, just prior that the Prophet was said to have learned Islam and the truth of our Moorish heritage. It was also during this time that he was said to have been put through the test of prophethood and to have received the title Ali. During this time, he was recognized as the prophet and the one representing our people among the nations of the world. In 1916, he founded the Moorish Divine and National Movement. And one thing I wanted to note here, he received the title of Ali. And as we all know, the most famous Ali, Muhammad Ali. This is where Nation of Islam adopted Moorish understanding and Moorish wisdom by adding Ali to their last names. But I would say, in my understanding, that Muhammad, instead of changing your first and last name, you need to just correct the misnomer and add Ali, El, Bey. This is how you link back with the family of nations. Because no matter how people feel about the United Nations right now in the world, you can't represent a nation if you don't know your nation. And that's been the issue that a lot of our educators and scholars and leaders, quote unquote, find out when they travel or go to these international events. We are Moorish American. We have a lineage, we have roots, and there's nothing wrong with going back and studying, because there was a lot of misinformation, and a lot of this was absorbed into many other groups that we have today. So it says between 1916 and 1919, Noble Ali, he stayed with the original Canaanite temple, but a foreign Islamic teacher came in and began to discredit the Prophet and not teaching true Islam, and for not teaching Arabic. This struggle ultimately divided the membership, and the Prophet went to New York City to link up with Marcus Garvey's United Negro Improvement Association movement. Marcus Garvey is said to be the John the Baptist of the Prophet Noble Ali. He came to prepare the descendants of a Mexam, the original name of Africa, for the Prophet's coming. Around the circles of the Garvey movement, the Prophet was known as the Prince and Professor Drew, the Egyptian adept. He began to have an influence on Garvey's United Negro Improvement Association movement, Hebrew movements, and other movements among our people. His influence in the UNIA can be seen in the quotes below. Garvey once said, Mohammed suffered many defeats at certain times. He said, but Mohammed stuck to his faith and ultimately triumphed, and Mohammedanism was given to the world. And as Mohammed did in the religious world, so in the political arena, we have had men who have paid the price for leading the people toward the great light of liberty. And that was quote by Arnold J. Ford in his book, The Universal Ethiopian Hymnal. It says the music director of the UNIA utilized the symbols of Islam in several of his musical compositions for the organization. Allahu Akbar was the title of one of his hymns. Note, many people are familiar with the phrase, one God, one aim, one destiny, but very few know that it was proceeded with, may our rights proclaim, in that most sacred name, Allah, Father of all creation, Allah omnipotent, supreme, over every nation. God bless our president. From murderous Cain, whose vengeful mood a doctrine cursed preferred to spill or drink his brother's blood, when love is in Allah's word. Somewhere between 1919 and 1925, Prophet Noble Ali returned to the South and to North Carolina, where he was born. It was during this time that Allah spoke to Noble Ali and ordained him the prophet. Allah instructed him to go west to Chicago, announce his prophethood, and begin his mission. It was also in December of 1925 that the crescent moon and star was seen hanging low in the western skies, heralding the coming of the prophet, the return of the Mahdi, who would establish a new caliphate, a divine government, here in the West, in fulfillment of the prophecies of Islam. Thus, it is no coincidence that in 1925, within a year of the decaying Islamic Caliphate in Turkey was taken down. In the East in 1924, Allah ordained a new prophet, and thus the beginning of a new caliphate here in the West. So I'm not going to touch on this book, the whole book, but yeah, peace, Novas. If anybody interested in these books, man, send me your email. Drop your email in the chat. Or you can email me directly. Yeah, these are rare books, man. So I mean, we asked for a small donation. This is, as I said, this Moorish paradigm has a lot of journals. So we definitely encourage brothers to come to our classes on the weekends, study with us, fellowship with us, and dialogue. So we can break down the text, break down the words, the etymology, cross-reference. Yeah, email me at herbsofmayat@herbsofmayat.com. If anyone seriously would like any of these Moorish paradigm books. because this is the missing pages of American history, world history. This isn't just some random history of America that was created. Noble Drew Ali is on record for being the first to introduce Islamic teachings to the modern age of people in the 1900s. There were many other prophets as well, though. Deuce Muhammad. There were other brothers who traveled and came back to the Americas and let people know. There was a lot of propaganda in those times to disenfranchise people, disenfranchise indigenous Americans, calling people Negro, calling people Indian. And now we're in a world today where we volunteer to call ourselves these names. We check boxes on documents that don't define us in totality. And there's nothing wrong with standing up for your history, your heritage, your family. Because at the end of the day, that's all you got. You see so many other cultures. Where I'm at personally, you see Indians, Ethiopians, Pakistanis, Afghanis. They're no different than us. They're no smarter than us. They just have a unity. They have a common history and heritage they agree upon. They're Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, atheists, and all cultures. Your religion should not stop you from unifying economically. We saying this is History Month. Where are all the farmers? Where are all our agricultural businesses? They say Maryland and Virginia grew tobacco. Everyone's still smoking tobacco, but no one's growing it. I've always had a green thumb and always wanted to be more into agriculture myself. And with our land and some of our projects we've been working on over the years, that's something I know I want to manifest. I want to be able to say I grew an apple tree, say I grew a fruit, I grew a lemon, grew a lime. You buy these things from the store, and as we see the prices of the same things that we bought decades ago have tripled. So it's like we've gotten to a point where we have to do for self. It's no option. It's no other options. People are upset with whoever's running the United States government, but that's what Noble Drew Ali brought us to govern ourselves. But you must know your nationality and your spirituality, because those are the two missing parts. When they called you 3/5 of a human, 3/5 of a man, that made you a beast. That made you a beast equals a Negro. Because a Negro doesn't know where they're from. So we embrace Moorish history and Moorish heritage. This isn't a cult. This isn't a. This is an understanding. And here at the BBT, we hope that brothers and sisters, would dialogue with us and share their experiences and your travels. Because everything comes from culture. Everything comes from traditions. And we get lost and stubborn about the traditions that we choose to follow and don't want to follow. But we got to have an end game. We got to have an agenda. So that's what we do here at our nonprofit. We bring brothers together. We bring sisters together. We have meet and greets. We have events. We have our book club every Friday. We have adept classes. We work out in the mornings all throughout the week with Malik, with Noble Barclay, with other just people in our community, man. Like, we're just looking for people who want unity and community and invest in something real. There's a lot of scammers online in this Moorish movement, and this people selling you packages, people selling you ID cards. None of those things was the foundation of this Moorish movement. Driving without license. A lot of people have misrepresented the understanding of this movement. But that's why we're here, just to be that clean glass. So people don't make the same mistakes others have made. And to continue a little bit, let me just want to show y'all some more parts of this book. There's a lot of history in this one. It talks about how this is a divine and national movement. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said to the Moors, "I brought you everything it takes to save a nation. Now take it and save yourselves." To understand Moorish science is Sufism. A lot of Moors might not understand that or might not tell you that, but Sufism, is simply understanding God and man as one. And understanding all the spiritual systems, not getting lost in one. Understand the silver lining of Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, Taoism, Taoism. All these things have connections. Whatever house you need to use to elevate, to be holy, to be spiritual, to be cleansed, to be clean, to be disciplined, it doesn't matter. As long as you use it and stick with it. Because these are all houses that we use. These are tools. And this is the Holy Quran. A very sacred, spiritual, metaphysical, historical. It's a book we all must have. The Moorish Holy Quran. It's a lot of science and just the symbols of it. The back of it, the charter, our authority, July 20th, 1928. It's a corporation, a religious affidavit of an organization in the state of Illinois, county of Cook. So this is what Noble Drew Ali established, and no one can ever take away. He set the tone. He set the standard. And we just continue with our brotherhood, with our sisterhood, understanding how he laid the foundation. Not trying to recreate and say that we're better or anything like that. Like, we stand on the shoulders of these brothers and sisters. And last but not least, I'm gonna read this part. It says, the prophet said he brought us everything it takes to save a nation. Well, first of all, what is a nation? And how do the above documents, the Quran, and the Charter, play a role in saving a nation? A nation is a noun, birth, a race, a people, to be born, a stable, historically developed community of people with a territory, economic life, distinctive culture, and a language in common. The people of a territory united under a single government. That was the Webster's Unabridged Dictionary. Now, in the Black's Law Dictionary, a nation is a people or aggregation of men existing in the form of an organized jural society, usually inhabiting a distinct portion of the earth, speaking the same language, using the same customs, possessing historical continuity. And that's where they broke us. The historical continuity. When the chronology of our Moorish lineage was disrupted through enslavement, through infighting, so many morals got compromised, so many traditions got compromised and banned and went underground and were forced conversions. It was a lot going on in Spain, man. It was a lot going on in Spain. That's why we have to study more Spanish and Latin so we can read these documents and get a full understanding of that time period and how it affects today. So the key things to the existence of a nation, common to both of the above definitions, are a race or people of common origin, 2, inhabiting a territory or portion of the earth, a distinctive and common culture, a common language, historic existence and continuity, and 6, unity under a single government. If the above 6 items are key to the existence of a nation, to save a nation, you must repair or restore any of these items which that nation has lost or was destroyed. The Prophet Noble Ali brought us every one of these keys to saving us as a people, a nation. Our Holy Quran brought to us by the Prophet, lays out our racial and common origin. The Holy Quran also describes the mets and bounds of the territories given to our ancestors by our Pharaoh in Egypt after the cataclysms of 1500 BC. The Prophet in the Quran, Moorish literature, writings, and oral statements taught us some of the distinctive and common aspects of Moorish civilization and culture, established English as our modern common language. He reconnected us back to the historical legacy of our Moorish ancestors in Mecca and Morocco, in the July 20th, 1928 charter. So yeah, this is one of the icings on the cake for all this Moorish paradigm books. And I definitely encourage brothers who want to get this document, tap in, email me. I appreciate all the nobles who could tap in and jump on. Even appreciate all the bots on here who've been sending all these random messages. We definitely got some eyes on us and some following. But again, this is the Moorish Paradigm book, Journal of the Moorish Paradigm. This is book 13. So you need all the 12 before that. We have them all. We offer them small donation. We accept Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, PayPal. We just have a plethora of books, documents. And we're looking for serious brothers and sisters who want to study, elevate your library. If you're looking for herbal remedies, we have those as well. Herbal teas. I'm in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. We ship as well. We have books, we have turbans, we have fezzes, we have regalia, workout gear. We're a one-stop shop. We welcome brothers and sisters to tap in with us. And with that being said, gratitude to all who tapped in on this holy day. Say the Moorish American prayer and I'll get out of here. Allah, the father of civilization, the father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is our protector, our guide, and our salvation by night and by day. Through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Shalom Aleichem, Ayah Asher Ayah. Peace, 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 peace. Peace, love, and light.
I'm a spirit speaking, truth seeking, heart reaching, knowledge leaking, seeds sowing, harvest reaping, man of neither means. I have yet to leave, I'm still breathing. To quit, I have no reason. I mean, I'm asleep, but I be trying to live my dream. I cannot even act if it's all easy. Either you gon' do it or you don't really. It ain't no in between. Baby, you can ask the sun, it's an everyday theme. Consistency in your routine is how you bring reality. Working like a slave, that's how I made this masterpiece. Living like a god, I lay at night,